Why did Shadowheart suddenly talk about being conflicted after you started the soft step trial? Why have you probably never seen this conversation? Why doesn't she trust you? Why am I dragging out this intro instead of getting to the point? Let's dive into the game's code to figure this all out. Behind the scenes, Shadowheart has a score called Nightsong points. There are a total of 6 of these points available, each gained during moments that test her faith. If you earn 4 points, Shadowheart will start to doubt her devotion to Shar, unlocking hidden dialogue and softening her attitude toward the Nightsong once you reach that confrontation. Some of these points are way more complicated than others, so let's go over each one. 2 of them come from the same conversation, after Shadowheart shows you the memory of the wolf in the woods. But unlocking that event has its own internal score called Wolf Dream Points. No, I am not making this up. Look. Okay? You only need 3 of these points, and there are many available. Here's a bunch of them. Saving Shadowheart from the pod on the Nautiloid, telling her that worshipping Shar sounds totally awesome, asking her if you can do anything to help her hand pain, asking her to tell you more about herself, giving her the idol of Shar found at the end of the trapped bridge in Grimforge, and supporting her during the fight with Lae'zel in camp. Once you have gained enough Wolf Dream points, know about her worshipping Shar, and have at least 10 approval, Shadowheart will talk to you about her desire to become a Dark Justiciar and about the Mother Superior. After that, the only requirement to trigger the Wolf Memory cutscene is to have 20 approval with Shadowheart. But anytime she tells you something significant about her background, like she just did, it sets a flag that prevents her from telling you anything new until you long rest. Once you've done that, leave camp and the wolf conversation will be available. After the cutscene is over, you need to make the right choices in the right order to gain each of the 2 available points. First, you need to mention that she was wearing a moonstone. By default, that option is only available if you succeed at a passive DC 18 religion check. If you fail that check, the choice is simply not there. However, there is a way to guarantee it'll show up with no check needed. When you open the Selûnite tribute chest in the Owlbear Cave, you'll find a number of items, including this scroll. Simply reading the scroll will give you the knowledge that you need to point out the moonstone to her. With that part of the conversation done, you can move on to picking option number 1, then telling her that it sounds like abuse to gain the second Nightsong point. Make sure you don't pick this choice first, or you'll end the conversation before you have a chance to get the point for making the Selûnite connection. Nightsong point number 3 is available only after Shadowheart's incurable wound has flared up 4 times. These flares happen anytime Shadowheart does something that Shar doesn't like. For example, saving Arabella in the Druid Grove, curing Thula's poison in the Myconid colony, looking at the Selûnite statue behind the windmill in the Blighted Village, sharing the wolf memory with you, getting Selûne's blessing from Isabel, and when Shadowheart first reveals that she worships Shar, but only if you persuade or intimidate her into it.
It hurts.
If you cross the bridge into the Goblin Camp and trigger the Absolute cutscene, Shadowheart will tell you about Shar for free as long as you have at least 10 approval. But this won't cause a wound flare unless you do this before any other flare has happened. The wound will also flare up if you persuade Shadowheart that you should open the Selûnite chest in the Owlbear Cave. But when the wound flare happens outside of a conversation like this, it actually causes a bug that stops that flare from adding to the total. Worse than that, it also prevents any future wound flares from counting either. So if you're trying to get into that chest to get the scroll I mentioned earlier, tell Shadowheart that you won't open the chest, and then just open it anyway and take the stuff out. You get +5 approval for telling her you won't open it, and even if you fail the sleight of hand check, you only lose 2 approval points. After the 4th flare-up, a new conversation option will be available when you talk to Shadowheart. If you don't see it, then just long rest and it should show up. If your approval is above 20, you'll have the chance to make a DC 10 religion check or DC 12 persuasion check to tell her that the wound is a real bummer. If you pass the check, you gain a Nightsong point. If your approval is below 20 when you start this conversation, picking the same option will only lead to the usual talk about her wound. But if you later increase your approval past 20, the option will become available again, giving you the chance at the point. The next Nightsong point comes from convincing her to eat the noble stalk to regain a memory. Doing this also unlocks a small bit of extra content in Act 3, but comes with a few downsides as well. You have to succeed at a DC 12 persuasion or intimidation check to get her to eat it at all. And you lose the chance to give the noble stalk to Dareth, preventing you from buying more in Act 3. But the biggest issue in this case is that Shadowheart eating the noble stalk will cause another bugged wound flare, just like the chest in the owlbear cave. So if you're planning to feed her the shroom, make sure you get the point from the 4th wound flare before doing this. If you don't get all 4 of those points in Act 1, you have 2 more available in Act 2. Giving a Night Orchid to Shadowheart will score you an easy point, but you only have the option to do this if you asked her to tell you more about herself earlier. And the easiest point is also the one you're likely to reach last, simply letting Shadowheart be the one to activate any of the trials in the Gauntlet of Shar. In fact, just clicking on the altar in front of the elevator and agreeing to help her will earn you the same point. Whenever you get your 4th Nightsong point, Shadowheart may immediately pop up a speech bubble to get your attention for a brief conversation about being conflicted. If she doesn't, it's because her background flag is set. But don't go hop in the sack to clear it, because at the same time, a new conversation with her becomes available the next time you go to camp. It has no exclamation point to let you know, just a change in Shadowheart's body language. If you long rest or leave camp before talking to her, the chance to have this hidden heart-to-heart chat is gone for good. Because of all these restrictions, it's very easy to miss this conversation and never even know it was there. Finally, there's the encounter for which the points were named, confronting the Nightsong. To determine how this showdown will go, 2 things are checked. First is if you hit that 4 Nightsong point threshold. The second is Shadowheart's approval score with 3 possible targets: below 20, from 20 to 40, and over 40. If you have enough points and over 40 approval, she'll always spare the Nightsong unless you tell Shadowheart to kill her. In almost every other situation, you can pick the first persuasion option for a DC 14. There's no reason to pick that second persuade, since it's DC 21 and even gives you disadvantage if you have below 20 approval and not enough Nightsong points. But here's the weird one, and I figured this has got to be a mistake on Larian's part. If you have enough Nightsong points, but between 20 and 40 approval after the start of the conversation, the second set of options will have only 2 choices, both of which lead to Shadowheart killing the Nightsong. Fortunately, there's an easy solution. It's not possible to enter the Shadowfell without the Spear of Night, since Shadowheart will insist that you get it and attack you if you ignore her. However, there's nothing stopping you from simply dropping the spear on the ground once you're inside. Without the spear, Shadowheart can't kill the Nightsong, and the event will proceed just as if you had chosen to throw the spear away during the conversation. In fact, you can just do this every time you reach this point in the game if you're not playing to kill the Nightsong. If you want to see more videos like this one, examining the inner workings of the game, finding hidden dialogue, or other secret stuff, please let me know in the comments. If you found this video boring and just want to see more tricks and strategy, please let me know that too. Thanks for watching.